Welcome to the Social Housing Podcast from Voicescape, the only podcast dedicated to helping social landlords build sustainable tenancies. During this series of podcasts, we'll be speaking to leaders from the social housing sector and beyond, hopefully challenging the status quo a little bit, and also stimulating discussion around how technology can be better utilised to help build sustainable tenancies. I'm your host, John Doyle, the Chief Exec and founder of Voicescape.
The skill shortage for us is making sure that we almost protect ourselves long term from that, and the way we're looking at that is looking at growing our own talent through our apprenticeship schemes. Thought a long time ago that apprentices was the way forward for property care and across our platform business. Our focus is on obviously really sort of taking people straight out of college or learners that want to change their careers into the construction industry or the maintenance industry, and giving them the support to come through our organisation, learn the ropes. And you mentioned behaviours. Behaviours is absolutely key. Sometimes you cannot build some of the behaviours, and so growing our own talent within our business is absolutely key, because what we get out the back of that is a really good quality person that delivers exactly what we need and has got all the behaviours in line with our business. So to hold on to them and move them from a college through into our business is absolutely key.
Welcome to the Social Housing Podcast. I'm Lewis Murray, and today I'm joined by Marc Mayall, Director of Operations at Platform Property Care. In this episode, we'll be talking about how Platform are gearing themselves up to provide a top-tier service for their customers in a post-pandemic era. So without further ado, here's Marc Mayall. Hi Marc, welcome to the Social Housing Podcast. Great to have you on the episode for today. As you might know, we've recently done a podcast with your colleague Geraint Oakley. That was quite a wide-ranging discussion around current state of the market, national housing crisis, factors holding the sector back. And I am aware of your target plans at Platform to build properties, do retrofitting, EPC standards, and this move towards sustainability, use of modern methods of construction. So there is a lot that we'd like to talk about. But before we get into all of that, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, your role, and your objectives at Platform?
Yeah, hi Lewis. My name's Marc Mayall. I'm Operations Director at Platform Property Care. And if you don't know what Platform Property Care is, it's an internal delivery team delivering services directly to our group, which is Platform Housing Group. So we cover things like responsive repairs, voids, gas servicing, gas installation and compliance works, program works as well, kitchen bathroom replacements and EICR works, to check the electrical compliance of properties as well. We also carry out grounds maintenance, and we're just moving into looking at estate management, so doing the cleaning and clearances and management of our communal areas across our scope of business. We've got about 45,000 properties across the Midlands, basically. So we stretch from sort of the Welsh borders all the way over to lovely Skegness in Lincolnshire coast, and we've got just over 450 members of our team.
Great, thank you for that. I'm sure a great place for us to start really is some of the more immediate challenges currently facing the sector. And I think the first place we wanted to touch on here was sort of post-pandemic. So just understanding the current state of the market emerging from the pandemic, dealing with backlogs of repairs, backlogs of voids, and a lot of these challenges, they're not going to be unique to Platform by any means. So just can you tell us a little bit more about what those current challenges are and how you're looking to address those?
Yeah, it has been a very interesting 18 months. Obviously, the pandemic's affected our sector greatly. And basically our customer service and the services that we offer to our customers have been affected throughout that, with transitions of workforce, where we've had to suspend some of our services just to enable us in line with the lockdown rulings. So, but one of the main things is it's obviously built up a backlog of repairs and voids across our business. As I said before, 45,000 properties does build up a backlog pretty quickly, and that's our main concerns at the moment, is how do we clear those down and return our service to the best it can be, which is where we were used to be and delivering before the pandemic hit. One of the main things that we're looking at first is obviously communication and making sure our customers are aware of exactly what we're doing and making sure that we're setting their expectations right at the front end. Absolutely, our responsive repair service isn't where we want it to be at the moment, and we're having to deliver those messages to customers that they have to wait longer for repairs to be completed. So communication is absolutely key. We've updated our website and to make sure, and we're building it into our communications across the business. We're also just taking into account our colleagues, because it's not just about our customers not receiving the right service, but our colleagues are taking a brunt of some of the customers who aren't receiving the right level of service. So it's making sure as one team, it's part of our new behaviours and vision of the business, is that we're one team across platform and we all support each other. So it's making sure that everyone's got the right information to be able to deliver the right quality of message to our customer. So on the practical side, obviously, we've got a whole load of repairs and a whole load of void properties that we need to turn around. And so we're doing that in a mixture of ways. We're looking at obviously bolstering our internal teams, so looking at recruitment and making sure that we get the best quality people in place. So we've just reviewed all our terms and conditions across our business to make sure that the package we're offering from a terms and conditions, salary, and all the attachments that come with terms and conditions are the best they possibly can be, to really attract the right quality of people and also retain the really great people that we've already got in the business. But we can't do that. That's probably more of a long-term view. Recruitment doesn't happen overnight. So we are working with some subcontractor partners as well. Some of our existing subcontract partners, but some new ones as well, just to give us that bolster of resource, just to sort of kill off some of the longer term repairs that we really need to sort of get done to enable customers to start living in their house without having to think, that must be done. So there's a lot going on. We're also looking at how we review how customers and our offer in the first place engage with us. So when a customer reports a repair into us, we're just looking at how that works, how to make that as efficient as possible, but also help customers make some of the decisions themselves by giving easy help videos on our website and sort of advice at front end, just to try and avoid that repair in the first place, so customers can manage some of the risks themselves. So, but as always, our priority is our customer. So if a customer absolutely needs something done there and then, we will move heaven and earth to deliver that. So emergency repairs for our organisation have gone up greatly, because we're escalating more into the emergency category, purely just to resolve some of the urgent works that have to be done there and then. So customers' priority for us, and making sure that the services, but it's a road to recovery for us. It's not going to be solved overnight, and we're delivering message to our customers 3 to 4 months until we can actually come out the other end of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned there earlier, recruitment was a big thing that you're looking at the minute, so bolstering the team, and I know that's a significantly growing part of platform. But it's worth asking the question about the skills shortage, which is not limited to your organisation or even just the social housing sector, for that matter. It's a competitive marketplace for recruitment. Can you talk us through the picture of what you're dealing with in that at the minute?
Yeah, I think from a skill shortage, it's a UK-wide issue. Lack of investment in apprenticeships and moving people, and a lack of people moving into the sort of maintenance and construction side of our industry. I think at this present moment in time, we've got a really, really booming construction industry. We've got a lot of domestic construction going on, so people building extensions and doing their home improvements because they haven't been able to go to spend their money at the local restaurant or the pub. So there's a lot of money out there where people are investing in their own properties, but also a lot of people working more at home and spending more time at home. So probably investing in that extra bit of space for their property just to enable them to work there more comfortably. Alongside that, we've got the whole of our sector catching up on a backlog of repairs. So from the perspective of that, it's a huge market out there, and it's interesting when you look at just from an agency perspective, and I gauge this quite well, is if we ever ask for agency support from an agency, we normally get 3, 4, 5 CVs straight back, and then we can pick from those. At the moment, we're getting lucky to get one, and sometimes that takes a couple of days to come through as well. So the market there's a huge amount of work out there, and which is driving up the cost of labour, and very much there's a draw of London, and as with anything, there's a draw of London, which then draws everyone closer to that epicentre. So it creates an area, a really sort of volatile market for us of trying to attract the right people. The skill shortage for us is making sure that we almost protect ourselves long term from that, and the way we're looking at that is looking at growing our own talent through our apprenticeship schemes.
Yeah, can you tell us a bit more about those apprenticeship schemes? Because that's a great method of bringing in the right talent, nurturing the right talent, breeding the right behaviours that suit social housing specifically. So you get real specialists that come from that. So do you want to talk to us about what you're doing in that space and what you're doing with your apprentices?
Yeah, we have a very successful apprentice program. We've thought a long time ago that apprentices was the way forward for property care and across our platform business. So our focus is on obviously really sort of taking people straight out of college or learners that want to change their careers into the construction industry or the maintenance industry, and giving them the support to come through our organisation, learn the ropes. And you mentioned behaviours. Behaviours is absolutely key. Sometimes you cannot build some of the behaviours. And so growing our own talent within our business is absolutely key, because what we get out the back of that is a really good quality person that delivers exactly what we need and has got all the behaviours in line with our business. So to hold on to them and move them from a college through into our business is absolutely key, and working with the local colleges as well. I mean, one of the things that the housing sector's worked on is the PMO course, which is the property maintenance operative course, which sort of addresses some of the skill shortages. It's rolling a whole load of different skill set into one course, so it's not just carpentry or plumbing, it's carpentry, plumbing and a bit of electrical. So it creates that multi-skilled person out of the back of it, which is really useful for us, because our efficiency is about sending one person to get the job right first time. And ultimately, if you've got a really good multi-skilled person that can pick up all those entities of that job without having to send another person there, it's better for us, more efficient for us as a business, but also better for the customer because they get that job done there right first time with one person. So that's the key. Apprenticeships is absolutely key. As a business, we're focused on for every £1 million of turnover, we're looking at having an apprentice, and we're at about 43 at the moment. So we're just below our target at the moment, but absolutely apprentices. And also I think it's great for our existing workforce to be able to share their knowledge and skills to new people. And we, every time we have an apprentice intake, and we take an apprentice intake every year, and even in the pandemic year we took an apprentice intake, and a lot of other organisations didn't, because we really valued it and we thought it was a negative process for us, and it would have held us back in our desires going forward if we didn't recruit in that year. And the mentors have really sort of taken to our apprentices and really sort of take pride in making sure that they're starting the careers of those apprentices off in the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was thinking there, it sounds like a great opportunity for someone who's fresh out of college, fresh out of high school, someone who's looking to change their job. I'm not asking you to sell it necessarily, but what sort of things could an apprentice sort of look forward to getting from an apprenticeship with Platform?
I think from an apprentice perspective is some really good quality training. I think a lot of the life skills that you wouldn't get through from going to a college or going to university and finding out that way, and the really practical. And I think one of the things from apprenticeship its perspective is very much it's learning through doing it, and that is really key for some learners, because some people can take it from a page and read it in a book and pick those things up, but some people have to physically feel and do it to really sort of take the skills on board. So I think from an apprentice perspective, we would offer from a Platform perspective a great career, great training, a really good workplace engagement, and as an organisation, we really support our apprentices and we really take pride in starting them off on their career, and we take that with absolute how would I put it? It's absolutely key to us, and we're passionate about making sure that we set our apprentices off on the right track. But obviously, what we want to do, and absolutely the Shangri-La of any apprenticeship, is that we train them, they move through the apprenticeship, and they join our permanent workforce, and then progress through the business.
Sorry. Yeah, absolutely. That was kind of coming on to my next question around that, because is there a difference you find in terms of people who have joined Platform as an apprentice? Do they tend to stay with you longer? And is there a greater level of retention with those apprentices? And you know, how do you use those apprentices to sort of build your short and long term plans?
Yeah, so we use the apprentices to, obviously, from a spoken, we do a whole load of workforce profiling, and what we can see is, right, we're going to need, we have 5-year plans and longer plans to look at what we're going to need in the future. So we design our apprenticeship programs around that. So very much over the last couple of years, we've been looking at the PMO, the property maintenance operative, because that has absolutely driven the most impact on our business going forward. So it will really drive our responsive services, but also we invest in gas maintenance operatives, electrical officers and things, and people like that. But we've got apprentices that move through our business, they know our business, love our business, they're an integral part of our business, and then they want to stay and then move into management positions. So we've got some of our managers that came from our original apprenticeship scheme back in the day, and now they're service managers and operations managers in our business.
Which is great, because I think if you look at most of the roles in housing, I think most of the people that I speak to, customers or just people from the sector, they tend to have been in the sector since they left school, whether that's in income, in finance, in anything related to housing. Once people go into housing, they stay in housing. So it's fantastic to hear that also happens for you and your apprentices and those coming into Platform. So that's good. It's nice to see that happening across different parts.
Yeah, and I think from an apprentice perspective, within the Platform group, we've got a lot of opportunities across the things. So the growth is, you don't necessarily have to stay in one part of the business. We've got lots of facets of our own business, lots of different areas that people can grow into and work into, and we would always support people's growth and development across our business. So apprentices is the start, but obviously it's investing in our existing teams and making sure that they are delivering the best they can be and being the best that they can be.
Another thing that I picked up on that you mentioned earlier is kind of having multi-skilled tradespeople in your team. So looking at sort of ways that you find efficiencies within the team, around delivering your service. There's the impression that there are a number of forces currently in play in post-pandemic Britain that could hinder your ability to deliver services and strategic plans. From a technological point of view, what are you doing to find other efficiencies in your processes and teams to help them resolve some of those challenges and pressures? One of them that I think we talked about previously, Mark, is materials shortage, and then there's a bit of a bun fight, isn't there, over trying to get materials from suppliers. So if there's anything that you can talk to us about with regards to that, that'd be great.
Yeah, so for material shortage, I mean, we've got some very good long-term relationships with suppliers across our group, which are really supportive, and we touch base with them regularly to make sure that we are keeping abreast of any material shortages across the business. We have long-term deals with our suppliers, and so we create that real ownership and partnership working with our suppliers. So we don't just see them as a supplier just giving us those things. It's actually how can they improve our business, but how can we improve their business as well? And I think that collaborative working really works well with us. That said, if you can't get the materials, you can't get the materials, and we are having those impacts across our business where probably more that costs are going up rather than that we physically can't get things. But things like roof tiling, cement-based products, timber has been a bit interesting over a while. But also anything that relates to it. It's even affected our fleets recently, which is starting to the latest one from our fleet supplier is that you can't get the microchips for the vehicles to go in the vehicles for them to deliver the vehicles. So I think, and Brexit. There's a lot of challenges coming on, and I think in the next 18 months we're going to be experiencing this. It's not going to be something that solves overnight, but I think it will settle down over a period of time. I mean, one of the things that we need to do is obviously look at how we specify our properties. What can we look at to try and mitigate some of those shortages and deliver it in a slightly different way? You talked about multi-skilling, but technology from our perspective is how do we empower our frontline teams to make the right decision for our customer without the technology getting in the way. So we obviously use scheduling solutions and electronic application of work through our TM device. But what the key thing for us is how do we make sure that the member delivering the work, because we're a people-to-people business, our people deliver directly to our customers, and we want to make sure that relationship is as strong as it possibly can be. And technology can support that, but it also can almost take some of the ownership away from people, especially when you're in the responsive repairs world, where basically it's one repair and then it just says, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one. It's how you connect back into that customer, but also make our teams delivering our frontline services really take ownership of that repair. And I think, and they do on a day-to-day basis. We just want to make sure that the technology doesn't get in the way. So we're looking at things like video calling and things like that. Video is a key one for us, is so we can actually see the repair issue before we even get there, so we can better diagnose the repair, and so we can turn up at that first visit and say, right, here's this item, and we carry out it right first time. So, and as from all our business, we measure the success of a business by customer effort and colleague effort. So customer effort, if they have to put a call back into us, we probably have failed. So we need to make sure that we are keeping customers informed, but also reducing the effort they have in putting into it, to accessing our services. And the same for our colleagues, is making something as simple as it possibly can be, and allowing people to have space to make their own decisions is absolutely key for us going forward.
So trying to retain the ownership of that customer engagement at your side, so that the customer's engaged, the customer's informed, the customer is fully aware, without that necessarily impeding on your staff's capacity to deliver work and to deliver services. So essentially sort of putting the customers at the heart of things and making sure that they don't have to, they're not being asked to do anything that's cumbersome or inconvenient to them.
Absolutely, and it sounds a bit twee sometimes, but where we talk about putting the customer at the heart of things, but we absolutely do. We're a one product business, so we have housing, we deliver housing and provide housing to people in the most need, and that is our product. But we are a people to people business, because there might be a one product, but there's a whole load of people that live in those properties, and we need to support those, and that is our connection, that's our relationship, and our frontline teams are the face of our business, and we live and die by that face.
One other point that I wanted to touch on that we've spoken about previously, Mark, is that, and I think it's come across already today, that Platform are passionate about delivering the best service and properties for customers. Now, delivering that top tier level of service, that top tier property, that top tier product, if you will, that needs a lot of investment across the board, including the team, as we've talked about, the properties themselves, everything that goes into one of those properties, boilers, all the plumbing and electrical works, all that kind of thing. So in terms of investment work, what's the platform approach to delivering the most value to customers?
I think from the main thing from customers is that we want that the home that we provide to them to be the best it possibly can be, but also that our customers aren't being impacted by fuel poverty, and the property is as efficient as it can be, just to enable them to live there easily. I think from our investment strategy, we obviously build a huge amount of new homes. We work with Homes England and we get grant funding for that. But also, our main income is obviously through rent from our customers alone. And our job is to invest that rent wisely in our products to improve customers' homes going forward and their lives. So our strategy is obviously looking at how we can invest in the right way to obviously make sure that we manage the green agenda of efficiency and making sure that we're reducing carbon footprints of our properties, but also just to make sure that it's a comfortable place and a nice place to live. So we have large programs across our business looking at kitchen and bathroom replacements, EWI, which is external wall insulation. So it's all about improving the thermal comfort of the property. Looking at how our boilers and heating systems work. So it's that transition from gas into hydrogen into district heating systems, where we have a heating system in one place and it supports our whole building. We've got a building in Leicester, De Montfort House, that we're working with E.ON at the moment on providing those sort of systems, and so providing a really good, affordable warmth and power to those customers that actually where they were spending a lot more money in the past. So we see us not just about maintaining the property that we own, but also supporting the customers that live in our properties and making sure that they have the best possible outcome of and maximizing their income and how they use that, and so they're not spending it all on our homes. But there's a lot of work to be done, and we have large scale programs, and we've increased our program budgets recently just to start investing in that, because one of the long-term things for us is if we invest in kitchens and bathrooms and electrical wiring and making sure that they are as good as they possibly can be, it reduces other costs in our business, like responsive repairs. So we're not going out and repairing those things all the time, because they are at a good quality and at a level and at an age that doesn't require the level of maintenance that we would put in more older properties. But I think one of the key things is that we want to be proud of our properties. We want to, and one of the mantras from our voids, and we're reviewing our void lettable standard at the moment, is that when we close that door in readiness for the customer to move in, we want to feel proud of the product that we've delivered. And so the customer has got the best possible start for their new life in that home.
So it's that proactive approach to building maintenance has a win-win-win. Customer
Absolutely.
wins because they've got a home that they can be proud of. Commercially, there's a win because you're not doing as much remedial work, sending engineers out to do smaller jobs. And then there's a staff satisfaction win, so that the staff who deliver those homes across, and I would assume that that's across the whole organisation, people who deal with,
Absolutely.
Income, housing officers, anybody who goes out to those properties and engages with customers on that face-to-face basis is going to feel really proud that they work for an organisation that has that customer-centric, we should deliver a great product approach. So I can see all the advantages there. One last thing that we wanted to cover here is that there's a really interesting partnership that you currently have in place with Rooftop. It's a really interesting model of how you're delivering services and identifying efficiencies and economies of scale for both organisations. Can you talk a little bit about how that came about and what advantages there are to that level of collaboration?
Sure, and I think historically we've offered services outside of our own organisation to other housing associations, and historically they were more on a sort of contract basis. The cost sharing group that we're in now with Rooftop is about absolutely that, sharing the cost of the service. So what we provide to Rooftop is repairs and maintenance, voids, gas servicing, planned program works at cost. So what it costs us to deliver, that's what we charge Rooftop. And so the people in that thing is, that's madness, because why would you do that? Because you're not going to make any profit out of that. But the benefit for us as an organization is, as part of that cost, we've got overhead. So there's overhead in our business, and what we can do is spread our overhead over the the cost sharing group, which actually reduces our business overhead because we're spreading it over some of Rooftop. So Rooftop are paying some of our overheads, and that's the benefit of delivering it. But also the benefit to the customers and benefit to the services when you work in a cost sharing group, that actually it comes more about costs, and actually both organizations working together in partnership to decide and changing each part of their own business to make it as efficient as possible. And it will be about reducing that cost, but not a race to the bottom. It'll be reducing cost and adding value where we need to. So the benefit of the business is we become better together. We deliver a really cost-effective service, and we all have a seat at the table. So Rooftop sit on our board, and they have a say in exactly what we do across our from Platform Property Care, because Platform Property Care is the cost-sharing vehicle within that. So we are the contracting arm that delivers it. But there's lots of things that we also look at with Rooftop about how else can we produce it. So we obviously do responsive repairs, gas and things like that, but it's what else can we provide at cost that we've got the skills and working in partnership with. So things like contact center work, asset management and things like that we can talk to Rooftop about. But the main key thing, part of it is working at cost, working in partnership, and it really makes us a really gelled team and brings two organizations together to make the best and deliver the best for our customers.
So it's delivering the best for platform customers and delivering the best for Rooftop, whilst at the same time allowing Rooftop and platform to have to enjoy those economies of scale, to have that bigger team behind them, which is a little bit cheaper per engagement, but not cheap service. Still a cost-effective, high-quality service.
Yeah, and obviously the one thing that is the massive benefit for Rooftop is they don't pay any VAT on it.
Well, that is a big benefit.
Yeah, so that is a huge benefit from a Rooftop perspective, but obviously from a platform perspective and Platform Property Care, we can share that our overhead and our costs across a wider footprint.
Well, great. That's been a fantastic insight, Mark, into the world of asset management and maintenance. And it's really great to see the work that you're doing. Both dealing with the fallout from the pandemic, gearing your team up, maximising your resources, and giving great service to your customers. So thanks for joining on to the Social Housing Podcast and sharing that with us.
Brilliant. Thanks for your time, Lewis.
Thanks very much.